Every powerful company, technology, and empire has a hidden story. Welcome to World System Decode, where we uncover the rise, fall, and secrets behind the systems shaping our world.
Flash of inspiration. But what if I told you the real story is less about invention and way more about a brutal playbook for corporate power? We're going to dig into his strategy, not as an inventor, but as a corporate titan, and see what happens when a dominant market leader gets threatened by a truly disruptive idea. It's almost hard to believe, isn't it? The man who would basically define an entire era was once written off just like this. And this quote, it's not just a piece of trivia. It's the classic start to an underdog story. But, every story has a twist. And Edison's journey from a misunderstood kid to an industry titan, well, it took a very, very dark turn. And right here, this is the core conflict we're exploring today. On one side, you've got the public icon we all know, the Wizard of Menlo Park. But on the other side, you have a ruthless corporate titan who would do pretty much anything to protect his empire. See, this story isn't really about the light bulb, it's about the fight to power it. And that fight has a name, the War of the Currents. And make no mistake, this was not some friendly scientific debate happening in a lab. For Edison, this was an all-out war for market survival, where he, the undisputed king, was suddenly facing a full-blown rebellion. You see, Edison's entire empire was built on something called direct current, or DC. It was reliable, it was his baby, and crucially, its short range meant he could build a power station on one block and basically own all the customers on that block. It was a business model designed for total monopoly. But then came the challenger, the disruptor, alternating current, or AC, championed by the brilliant Nikola Tesla. AC could travel for hundreds of miles, and that threatened to make Edison's entire network of little power stations completely obsolete. This wasn't just a new idea. This was an existential threat. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this chart frames the whole thing in modern business terms. You've got Edison, the big incumbent, with this profitable but really limited monopoly model. And then here comes Tesla, the disruptor, with tech that's built for mass distribution. This wasn't just about better technology. It was a better, more scalable business model. Edison knew he couldn't compete on that front, so he attacked his competitor's only real weakness, public perception. So, since he couldn't win on merit, Edison decided to win with fear. He launched what is probably one of the most aggressive and, frankly, unethical smear campaigns in business history. This wasn't just competition anymore, this was corporate warfare. And his playbook was actually pretty straightforward. 3 simple steps. First, create a simple, terrifying narrative. AC is the deadly current. Second, prove it with shocking public spectacles. And third, use the press to amplify that fear until everyone believes it's a fact. It's an absolute masterclass in spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt. This is where the story gets really grim. He staged public demonstrations where his teams would use AC power, sourced from his competitors, to electrocute stray dogs, cats, even horses. The goal was to literally sear the image of AC as a killer into the public's mind. It was brutal, and it was completely deliberate. So let's be crystal clear about this. This wasn't some accident or a side effect. This barbarism was the strategy. Edison was willing to cross pretty much any ethical line just to associate his competitor's superior technology with death and danger, all to protect his bottom line. So the big question, did it work? Well, in the short term, his campaign of fear absolutely slowed down the adoption of AC. But what about the long run? Was this a genuine victory or just a really costly way to delay the inevitable? The numbers, well, they tell the real story. As you can see right here, despite Edison's absolutely brutal campaign, the market eventually made its choice. Superior technology, which enabled a superior business model, won out. The efficiency and the range of AC were just undeniable, and it blew past DC to become the global standard that all of us use today. The lesson is pretty clear. You can't fight technological progress with fear forever. It just doesn't work. And the fallout for Edison was huge. His strategy ultimately failed. His brand was permanently tarnished by these tactics, and at the end of the day, he just lost. It's a really powerful lesson for any leader. Winning at all costs can sometimes cost you everything. So what's the big takeaway here? How do these century-old power struggles translate into modern leadership lessons? What can we as leaders and innovators today actually learn from this electric tyrant? It's really easy to look back from our vantage point and judge, but think about it for a second. When a dominant tech company today faces a nimble new competitor, how different, really, are the strategies they use? The tools have definitely changed, but the playbook is remarkably similar. Edison's public smear campaigns have evolved into viral misinformation. His dangerous narratives are now just called FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt marketing. The core strategy of attacking a competitor with scary stories instead of better innovation is alive and well. And that leaves us all with this final, crucial question. Edison was without a doubt one of history's greatest innovators, but his actions force every leader to confront a timeless dilemma. When you're fighting for your company's survival, where do you draw the line between aggressive competition and a total loss of integrity?
If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video and share it with someone who loves business and technology documentaries. And don't forget to subscribe to World System Decode so you never miss the hidden stories behind the world's most powerful companies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Decode.